Hello friends, welcome this moment. We are here and we are here to learn God's word. We are here today, this evening or night. We are studying this topic on the book The Great Controversy. We have this topic, the immutability of God's law, or God's law immutable. God's law immutable. The immutability of God's law. This topic simply tells us that God's word is unchangeable. God's law, which is his word, God's law, which is his character, is immutable. It cannot change. The law of God does not change because it reflects his character. And the character of God, we know that God does not change. He remains what he is, what he was yesterday, what he was today. He remains what he was forever. Yes, he does not change. That's what the Bible confirms to us. We can read some verses in the Bible. We can read some verses in the Bible to confirm the character of God, that he is unchangeable. Is unchangeable. Yes, we are there. I am there. I'm looking for a verse in the Bible. I think it is Malachi. Malachi chapter 2. I'm going to confirm that for you. I'm going to confirm that for us, guys. Malachi chapter 2 verse 6 says, "The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity." Verse 7, "For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts." Right. Alright, we are continuing with our discussion, or with our study. I'll be using Bible show. We are being told that God's law does not change because it is the character of God. It reflects, it manifests the character of God. And Christ came. And why did he come? He came to magnify the law, to make it of effect, to make it come into effect. In other words, to make it appear large, to magnify, to make something big. The law. In fact, when we read the book of Genesis, we have the law of God there. The 10 commandments in the book of Genesis. That's why when Cain kills Abel, it becomes a sin. It is a sin. It is counted as sin. So the law in Eden was not written in stones or tablets of stones. It was not written in the tablets. But the law, the Garden of Eden, was in God's heart. Okay? God had not spoken it yet. That's why we find in Genesis, when Adam forsakes his creator and sins and does contrary to what he had been told, it becomes sin. Yes, God was speaking the law to them. Let me say so. They were told, do not eat this fruit, but they did eat the fruit. Now we see in Exodus God coming to test the children of Israel by giving them his law, his unchangeable law. God brings this law to the children of Israel to test whether they will keep this law. Let's go forward, brethren. In the book of Revelation, let us read the last book of the Bible. In the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 19 and verse 19, Revelation 11:19 says, and the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. So here the revelator sees the temple open, and after that, in the temple, the ark of God's testament, he sees it inside the temple, and then there are voices, there are thunderings, there is an earthquake and great hail. This is God's law, or the commandments of God being proclaimed, and there is such an awful moment. The ark in the tabernacle on earth contained the two tables of stone upon which were inscribed the precepts of God's law. The ark was merely a receptacle for the tables of stone, or tables of the law, and the presence of these divine precepts gave to it its value and sacredness. When the temple of God was opened in heaven, the ark of his testament was seen. Yes, this is exactly what happened, brethren. This is exactly what happened. We are going forward. With our study. In the book of Exodus, chapter 20, this is where we find the commandments, or the 10 commandments, the law of God, being given to the children of Israel through the hand of Moses. When they have come down the mountain, they receive the 10 commandments in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, and verse number 1 to 17. We can read the whole story there. I'm not taking you through the whole story. It's not really a long story, but we have something to all right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 28, book of Proverbs, chapter 28, and verse 9. There is something which is important here. Proverbs 28, verse 9. There is something readable here. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. There are a lot of Christians in this world purporting that the law